a thousand generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic. Before the Dark Times. Before the Empire.
So,
you want to be an indie dev. You noticed last year, 2025, the gaming industry brought in almost $200 billion worldwide. The gaming industry dwarfs Hollywood in revenue. So why wouldn't you want to be an indie dev?
You want this, don't you?
Everybody loves playing games. Maybe they will play yours. In this video, I'm going to talk about things I've learned being an indie dev. So why should you listen to me? Well, my games on Steam have been purchased by gamers from 37 different countries. I've also branched out into tabletop gaming. I've created Wizard Bane, a fantasy role-playing game with strategic combat, and Theta Tech. And here is a screenshot of an email I received from the publisher publishing my tabletop games. So yes, I'm rolling in the money now, aren't I? Well, tabletop gaming, as far as revenue, is magnitude smaller than the PC console game industry. Now, being an indie dev, I've noticed there are two paths indies can take when developing a game. They can work on larger projects, which will take longer, but they have a potential to bring in a lot more revenue, but the money will be brought in further down the line. Example, Galactic Civilizations 3. It's been out for several years now. How much money has it brought in to date, to 2026? Over $20 million. Empyrean Galactic Survival. Released 2015, it's now 2026. How much money has that game brought in for the indie team that made it? Between $10 to $14 million. Millions of dollars, but over a long period of time. Now let's look at Minami Lane, a game made by a small indie team, 6 months of development, $5 price tag, 3 years later, $750,000. Sticky Business, another indie game, it's brought in to date around $1 million. A Short Hike, created 2019, released 2019, it's 2026. Estimated they're brought in about $3 million now. You can work on a larger project that will take a lot more time to complete, but has the potential for a bigger payday several years down the line. Or you can work on a short-term project, 3 to 6 months, and you can bring in money sooner, but you still might have to wait getting money from that. Same thing with me. I have several games on Steam. One of them is an arcade pack that sells for $1.99. Nothing special really at all. And I don't advertise to kids, but obviously that arcade pack I have on Steam for $1.99 is meant for kids. I don't advertise to the kids. So I released that in 2022. I didn't start seeing money from that until 2023's money from Steam in my bank account for that game. And there are some exceptions, like 7 Days to Die. Usually, the path of the indie follows the path of Kenshi. Kenshi, a game made by an indie team, released in 2013 in early access, I believe. And, it has indie numbers for the first few years. And then it takes off. Takes off about 5 years later. Now, those devs are millionaires now. Now, one thing I encourage you to stay away from as an indie dev is the get-rich-quick scheme of live service games. Unity wants indie devs to make live service games because they offer hosting services and monetization services, which you pay for, whether people are playing your game or not. You have to pay Unity money for this. That's why they want indie devs to make live service games. And live service games, in my opinion, are a fraud. They're not a natural entity in the gaming space. They're forced. And they've been forced by the AAA game companies because they want gamers to rent the game and pay money for it all the time. And we've seen live service games come and go. Arc Raiders is going to suffer the same fate. Arc Raiders, when it first came out, they were able, either they already had content made to be pushed out in monthly updates before they released, or they're able to keep up pushing content out every month. But now they're down to biannual updates, meaning once every 6 months, you can expect new content. Live service games, they're not, in my opinion, they're not games. It's just, paying money for the same thing over and over again, which I'm never going to do that. I've never been interested in live service games. Real games, the tried and true method of making games, is people who enjoy playing games, making a game, and then putting it out there for the people to buy. And really, gamers are the experts on gaming, so who would you want to make a game? A fellow gamer or some weirdos who want to preach to you and then bill you monthly? And all the major gaming corporations today, back in the 90s, started out as small indie teams who were actually passionate about making games. That's why they grew. It's unfortunate they become the corporate weirdos that they now are. So I would encourage you to check out the Flax game engine, and it's recently been updated to version 1.12. Now have web support. Put your game on a website. Springbone Physics In Flax Engine, you can program in C# and C++ and visual scripting. It has all these features here, and there's no monthly subscription. Thank you for watching this video. Make games because you can do it better than the AAA weirdos. Play games and have fun.